All right, everybody, how's it going? It is Wednesday, July 17th, 2019, and we are just 2 weeks and a day away from the Hall of Fame game between the Broncos and the Atlanta Falcons on, August 1st, 2019 at, like 8:30 p.m. It's going to be kickoff, maybe 8 o'clock. I'm a little fuzzy if it's 8 or 8:30. Can't wait for that to get started, so I figured it's time to transition back to making NFL videos, NFL content, playing Madden, just more football stuff here on the channel. And I figured what a perfect way to start it off by, making an NFL top 10 list. We're going to go with NFL top 10 quarterbacks. So let me go ahead and, top 10 quarterbacks in 2019. Remember, these kind of lists are very, very opinionated. There's a little bit of statistics on there. I'm not going to read all the stats off. Those are on there for you to read. If you'd like to read them, I encourage you to. What I'm going to discuss and give off the criteria is I'm going to give the reason why I put them on the list, why they are where they are on the list, and what kind of impact they've had on the game. To the way I see it, the numbers speak for themselves. They all have very good numbers for how long they've been in, whether it be a short amount of time, a long amount of time. It kind of varies from quarterback to quarterback. There is no real age distinction. You can have had only 1 year of experience and be a top 5, or have had 15 years of experience and be number 10. There's no real rules here. There's there's just criteria of who I think is going to shape out to be the top 10 by the end of the year. There's some controversial people left off, which is what we'll go over here in just a second. Certain guys didn't make the list, and I'll give a brief reason why I didn't put them on there. So, a little bit of a longer video, probably around 20 minutes. I hope you enjoy it as we go over the top 10 quarterbacks for 2019 inside of the NFL here on, hear what we think on Dirty Sports Network. All right, let's go forward and look at these people didn't make the list. Andrew Luck, I didn't have him in there. He was one of the hardest ones to leave out next to Ben Roethlisberger and Matt Ryan. Those three were they're the top three. They were the hardest to kind of consider. They were they all got votes with the way I thought about it, but I have a reason for each of them. Andrew Luck, as good as he is, as good as he makes the Colts, he has huge impact on them. He gets hurt a lot. He's been hurt a lot. 2 straight seasons of injuries. I have questions about that. I have questions if the Colts are going to catch anybody off guard. Are they going to be as good as they were last year? There's so much there where I'm just like, I don't know how good Luck is, how good he's going to continue to be. Is he going to get hurt again? He is what Carson Wentz doesn't want to turn into. A guy with unlimited potential, a top 5 quarterback type, but injuries and just shit going wrong kind of slows him down. So Matt Ryan, I think he underperforms for how good his offense actually is. He's always had great receivers, always had a great running game. The only thing that's bad on his team is the defense, because they got hurt in the offensive line, and the dude struggled horribly last year. His numbers were okay overall, but that's because he's throwing to Julio, Ridley. It's just man, anybody should put up those kind of numbers when you have the weapons that he has. He had Gonzalez for some of his career. It's just all right, I'm not that impressed by Matt Ryan. Take away everything, switch him with Matt Stafford of the Lions, and Matt Ryan is a nobody. He's probably out of the league if he goes to the Lions, whereas Stafford probably would have won that Super Bowl against the Patriots. As much as I love the Patriots, we can be honest here. Why Ryan losing that Super Bowl is a big stain on his career. You were up 28-3 and 28-3 pretty much in the fourth quarter. So it's inexcusable about that for me. So, and Ben Roethlisberger, I don't know, he's number 11, I guess. I like Big Ben. I know he's a 2-time Super Bowl winner. I'm unimpressed with his numbers. It's just he's been sacked a lot. The team kind of implodes every so often, and he seems to be the focal point of it. So it's hard for me to put a guy who isn't the clear leader of the team, at number 1. This offseason for this the Steelers, and Le'Veon doesn't like him. You got fucking former teammates speaking out on how Ben acts. It's the radio show stuff. He throws guys under the bus. I can't put a quarterback who doesn't take any culpability for his mistakes as a top guy in the league. I just can't do it because, Ben, you're not perfect. You're not infallible. You make mistakes. You threw a ball to the defensive lineman and blamed Antonio for a bad route. That's why you're not in my top 10. Kirk Cousins, he's Andy Dalton. Mitch Trubisky's too young. I still think he's smoking mirrors. Dak Prescott, come on, Cowboys fans. He's a system quarterback that is very, very beneficiary. He's the big beneficiary to a great, great defense and a great running game, great offensive line. Like, ugh. Like, who cares? Like, you guys are going to have to pay him so much money, too, and that's such a ripoff. Nick Foles, okay, he's had a good stretch, but before this, it wasn't the greatest time. And Jared Goff, it's the same kind of situation with Mitch Trubisky. I think it's more of a system quarterback who's a puppet to smoke and mirrors and a very, very, very smart offensive head coach. So until we see more from Goff and Trubisky, I'll never have him in. Kirk Cousins is a joke to me. So is Dak. Ben Roethlisberger is not much of a leader. Matt Ryan, he's in the perfect situation. You put Stafford there's probably multiple Super Bowls. You put most quarterbacks in Atlanta, there's probably a Super Bowl where Ryan's produced nothing. Andrew Luck is too injured, in my opinion, to get on there. And now I have to defend number 10 because everyone's going to be like, how could you say that Andrew Luck is too injured to be on this list when this guy's never played a game in the NFL he's hurt every game. If that's your thoughts, you're stupid. He's missed 8 games, number 10. Oh, criteria for the list. When we get to number 10, you'll see. Last season will be considered, but with context, normally great QBs will not be penalized for poor team play, lack of team around them. We can see Aaron Rodgers and Matthew Stafford. Their numbers were way down to what they usually are. And QBs with great teams and little sample size will be more harshly considered. I was very harsh on where I considered Mahomes, and I was very harsh not even putting Goff on the list. Rivers is in a surprising spot. I have him in my top 10, but it's not a good spot. And you know what I mean? Like, guys can have a bad year, but still be a great quarterback because you can only do so much from one position. Likewise, guys can have a great team around him, like Patrick Mahomes, a team with, before Kareem Hunt was let go, 3 or 4 All-Pros on offense, and a quarterback. I mean, like, how hard of a job is it for a quarterback to win with that kind of talent? You know what I mean? Or Goff, same situation. So context, it was considered for most of these guys' career. You have to consider context inside of the NFL because you put a different guy in a different situation. Unless you don't understand context, I don't think you should ever talk about top sports, top players, what they've done for the game, the impact. You never understand any of that because you're just a numbers guy, and numbers. Numbers tell a story. Look at what they're attached to. Career numbers heading into the season will be considered. All these will be considered. You can see them on the screen. We won't really discuss the statistics because it gets weird. I have it broken down to percent ratios and everything. Things that nerds like and things that I do like, but that's not the video we're doing here. Impact on franchise, impact on conference, impact on the game. All these impacts that the player can have, those are the things that I very much considered, and I will give a reason why I put them on there, and then the impact. So there will be 2 reasons, and then we'll move on to the next person. But yeah, so that's where it is. I can go. You guys had a good look, so we went over the guys that didn't make the list, the honorable mentions, I guess you could say. And now we're going to move on to the top 10. Again, this is a highly opinionated piece of where I think the NFL quarterbacks go, where I think they're at, and why I think they're there. So, and you can look at their numbers to kind of back things up. If I remember that a player has an award for whatever or a record, I'll be sure to mention that. So that way, like, I'm not like forgetting something. You know what I mean? Anyway. Number 10. Here's me having to defend the fact that I put Andrew Luck off the thing because of injuries, when number 10 is Carson Wentz of the Philadelphia Eagles. He's played 3 seasons and is heading into his 4th NFL season this year. He has a 23-17 record of 57% winning percentage, 2 playoff appearances, 0-0 because he didn't start in either of them. 1 appearance in the Super Bowl, 1 win, 50% or 100%. Sorry, I forgot to change that. He is 1-0. Was part of the team and did not participate, so he did technically appear in the Super Bowl and win one. So he's 1-0 in those games. Game-winning drives and fourth quarter comebacks. He has 4 game-winning drives and 4 fourth quarter comebacks. So very good by Carson Wentz. So far so good for Carson Wentz's career. The fourth quarter, and like, those are big. It shows that he can come back in the games, yada yada yada. 2018, he missed 5 games due to injury. Those are his stats. Those are his career stats. He's out of 48 games, he's only missed 8 games in his career, so we can kind of drop. We've already done that here. And then there's the impact. So the reason I put Carson Wentz on here is because we've obviously seen flashes of what he can do when he's healthy, and the team around him isn't entirely destroyed. Last season, before Carson Wentz got a fracture in his back and the team sat him down so he didn't get any more hurt, he wasn't having the best year because everybody got hurt. There was no running game. The offensive line was banged up. There was like the receivers were decent, and he put up decent numbers throughout the season. But what are you going to do when you have no offensive line, no running game, no defense? You're going to struggle. The team's going to struggle, and it just never really got into that motion or into that groove of the 2017 season, where he was probably going to win the MVP prior to getting hurt in Week 14. Or in Week 14, Week 13, I forgot which exact week it was. We've seen what he can do. He will play at MVP level when the team is healthy, when he's not dealing with like practice squad level players around him, and he's not trying to do too much due to the fact that the team around him is just destroyed. He was playing hero ball, and you can kind of see that in his statistics, even though his numbers were way up compared to everything. Highest completion percentage. He was going to throw for more yards. Touchdowns may have been down a little bit. Interceptions were down. It seemed like everything was starting to click. Things are only going to get better. You see the accuracy go up year to year. He's only going to get better and better. I would have actually put him higher on the list because I actually think the Eagles are the favorite to win the entire NFC this year, to be honest. Because if he stays healthy, that offense is unstoppable. Ertz, Aguilar, Jeffries, it goes on and on. Charles Johnson from the AAF. That's a very good team. Deshaun Jackson. It's just, who are you going to cover? How are you going to stop them? They might score 30 plus a game, and Wentz is going to be the catalyst of the offense. I know Nick Foles did quite well, and you're like, oh, it's a system. But yeah, so what? Every NFL team's really kind of a system. I think Foles will succeed, or Wentz will succeed quite well. Quite worth the number 10 pick. His impact, it's still yet to be seen, really. His impact is that he can play at an MVP level. I guess this was the hardest one. This number 10 pick was trying to figure out really who went to number 10. I'm a lot more cocksure about my 9 through down. This one was a hard one because of the injuries. It's hard to defend, but he's only really missed 8 games, so that's not that bad. Lux missed more. Matthew Stafford missed 19 games in his first 2 seasons. So I don't really consider that. I like to look at what he can do when he's healthy, and it seems like he's a winner. It seems like he can put points up. He could score. The defense has to be a little bit better for him. He's number 10 to me. This is who I see as number 10. If he stays healthy, the Eagles are probably winning the NFC. And to me, that's at least worth the 10th best quarterback in the league. So like everyone's like, oh, the Eagles are going to be good this year. Eagles are going to be great if Wentz stays healthy. Only if Wentz stays healthy. If Wentz stays healthy. So to me, that's telling me Wentz is a very, very good quarterback and is the reason the Eagles will either make it to the Super Bowl or not. So we all think Carson Wentz is a great quarterback. It's the injuries, and it's not really even a fair title earned. 48 possible games, he's played in 40. So I don't really know, but whatever. I think he's number 10, and I think a lot of you do too, and you begrudgingly will admit he's a top 10 quarterback if he's healthy. Because, I mean, he showed us he's one of the best if he's healthy. So, number 10, Carson Wentz. Let's go ahead and move on to number 9. And that's where I have Deshaun Watson of the Houston Texans. He's played 2 seasons and is heading into his 3rd NFL season. And to me, he is the future of scrambling, throwing quarterbacks. He's very, very good. Right-handed Michael Vick, in my opinion. He is 14-8 as a starter, 61% winning percentage. He has 1 playoff appearance. He's 0 for 1, and they lost. Never been to the Super Bowl. He has 5 game-winning drives and 5 comebacks. All happened this last season in 2018. 5 game-winning drives, 5 fourth-quarter comebacks. Very, very good. Those are the kind of things I like to see. He can come from behind, win games, doesn't let a score stop him from trying to win. He's going to win. He threw for 4,000 yards in his first complete season. Very good. The year before, when he was destroying the league when he came in, he was on pace to throw like 60 touchdowns or some shit like that. If you guys remember how good he was when he first came in, Deshaun was a complete monster in the NFL. when he first got in. He threw 26 touchdowns, only 9 interceptions. Had a 1.8% interception ratio. Very good. A 103.1 QBR rating. Was sacked 62 times and still put his team at an 11-5 clip. Put him in the playoffs after they went 4-12 the year before. Clearly, Deshaun Watson was like the only thing they changed. The only fucking thing they changed was putting Deshaun Watson at quarterback, and the team exploded. They went 11-5, made the playoffs, lost to the Colts, but they were in the playoffs after looking terrible the year before without Deshaun. So that's why he's on the list. The team was bad, and then with him, they were a playoff team. Like, literally, just like that. I know Andrew Luck did that too. Bad to playoff team, but like, they also had like the best offensive line in football. Frank Reich's the head coach. They got like this great defense that they put together. The Colts have been a draft story and a Frank Reich story more than an Andrew Luck story, whereas the Deshaun Watson-led Houston Texans, this is a Deshaun Watson story in the making, I think. He can perform very well at a high level. Look at his numbers. That's a high level season for a quarterback, in my opinion. Made the playoffs, all this stuff without an offensive line. The dude got sacked 62 times and he can actually run. If he couldn't run, I can only imagine he might have been sacked near 80 times this season. That, to me, this is just incredible. Like I said, making the year, like, he makes his team better, and that's very, very evident. Bad without him, 4-12. With him, make the playoffs. That means he's elevating the play of the players around him just by being on the team. The team obviously responds to him out there due to his presence. He's a leader. They like Deshaun. He brings this winning culture to Houston. He brings this working hard culture. It's just, he throws a pretty football. He fucking can run. He's a great fucking quarterback. There's nothing wrong really with his game. He just needs a better line, and he's probably higher on the list. If I do this again next year, I put Deshaun higher as he progresses in his career, because this dude is really special. This is only going to be his third season, and look at these numbers, man. He's missed 9 games in his career. He's actually missed more games than Carson Wentz has due to injuries. So, like, you know, just saying. But anyway, like, these are great numbers for a career for a very, very young kid. And he's only going to get better and better and better and better, and that's what should scare you. Good team around him. He's got DeAndre Hopkins to work with. Deshaun is a real one. Yeah, he is. He is. This is a real future fucking star quarterback in this league. Donovan McNabb with more. I think he's a right-handed Michael Vick who isn't going to have a legal issues that take him out of the league for a few years and into a prison. So I like Deshaun at number 9. Number 8, Baker Mayfield. He's so low because he's literally only played 1 season, and he went 6-7 as a starter. So don't kill me for this. It's 6-7. I know he did it with the Browns, and that's incredible. That's why he's on this list over guys like Andrew Luck, Ben Roethlisberger, Matt Ryan, Kirk Cousins, Mitch Trubisky. All these guys fell to Baker because of the fact that Baker, you have to put it in context, 0-16 team. He got them 6 wins, 7 wins overall because he came in and finished that game. He had 4 game-winning drives and 3 comebacks, so almost all of them half of his wins were comebacks, and 4 of them were game-winning drives, so that's very, very good. Shows clutch, shows that in the future he won't be afraid of big moments. He had a pretty good year, set the all-time record for rookie touchdowns. And the impact for Baker, and the reason I have him on here, is clearly he won 6 games. He's a franchise quarterback already. He's brought the Browns to a place of optimism and hope, for when a year ago it was, we just want to win 1 single game this year and we won't call the season a wash. Like, that's the state of the Cleveland Browns before Baker. Afterward, it's, holy shit, we're actually a playoff team, and we're probably going to make a deep playoff run with what we got now. Guys want to play for Cleveland. People want to be a part of Cleveland. And it seems to me that Baker Mayfield is that reason, and that's his impact on the game. He's revitalized the Cleveland Browns. He's made it cool to be there. He wanted to be there. He wanted to go there, and he started winning. He won games. The players around him seem to want to play for him and get him winning because they respond to his style of leadership, his way of being around. He's definitely one day going to be the type of player, once he can have more impact, to elevate everybody around him to play better. I think he does that slightly. He gives them that edge, that attitude that we can win this game. The fucking dude, don't fucking tell us we can't do that, because we're going to. That's what Baker brings to his team, and you can see that in the Browns, their attitude. I think Baker is going to have a very good year, either 9-7 or 8-8. It would be an incredible season if the Browns could finish above 500. I'm being a realist, because I know after your team loses every game as a Lions fan, it's a tough rebound. It's a tough build back. So to me, if the team can finish above 500 or even make the playoffs, then this kid is on a great trajectory to one like Matthew Stafford, where he gets drafted by a very, very bad team that lost every game the year before and slowly but surely turned him around. That's the path I see Baker doing. And if he can do that with Cleveland, putting them in the playoffs a couple times, maybe a playoff win, just slowly build Cleveland out of the cellar. His impact is there. He's starting it. He's already doing it. Incredible rookie season, despite losing a coach, turnover, just everything, all the distractions that come along with it, the media going after him for every little thing. He still went out there, had a great year, played ball, and was Baker Mayfield. So that's one of the reasons I have him at number 8. Good season, good future. The context is his team was the worst team in football, and he made them almost a playoff team. They almost somehow snuck in. If everything would have went right and they could have just won every game, they might have fucking been a playoff team. They were pretty close. They were like 3 games off of it. So congrats to them. That's the work of Baker Mayfield, and why I put him at number 8 ahead of Deshaun Watson and Carson Wentz. Context does matter. Deshaun's on a team with a loaded talent, and they went 11-5 and lost. Baker Mayfield, a horrible team, brought him into relevancy. He's number 8. Matt Ryan. Great teams around him, everything, and he had a bad year. I feel nothing for him. Baker, technically the Browns had a bad year. That's not a good year. 7-8-1. That's not good. Context, Browns had a great year. Baker had a great season. He's a lot better than Matt Ryan, in my opinion. Doing more with less. This season's a little different for Baker Mayfield and company. Baker's got a lot of toys. So don't mess this up, Baker. You might fall off this list if you don't have a big year. So good luck, bud. Number 7. This one's going to be tough, because this is about the most. This is a very opinionated piece, but there's also some kind of facts to it. This is all opinion. There is very little way I can defend this, but number 7 is Matthew Stafford of the Detroit Lions. 10 seasons, heading into his 11th. And clearly this is a case of context I'm going to be using. 66-75 career record. Of course, he plays for the Detroit Lions, a team that lost every single game the year before they drafted him, and did absolutely nothing to improve the team around him till about 5-6 years ago. That's the ineptitude of the Detroit Lions. The Browns fixed the team up. The Lions never did. They got Stafford and just went, now we can win, and failed to address key. It's just a mess what Detroit was compared to Cleveland, especially because Cleveland hired competent people to rebuild it. Detroit waited until 2012 and hired Bob Quinn. So we had to wait until then to actually call it a rebound or a rebuild, because fucking ineptitude in Detroit. 3 playoff appearances, 0-3, but everybody knows they were cheated out of a win in that playoff run by the Dallas Cowboys. But karma struck the Cowboys, and the infamous Dez dropped it meme started literally the fucking following week. So go fuck yourself, Cowboys. You earned that one. That's why it's so prevalent against your team, by the way. Everybody knows you should have not been in that game anyway, and it should have been the Detroit Lions playing in that game. But the referee's picking up that flag. That's called karma, bitch. I'm still angry about that. I'm still salty as hell about that. I hate the Cowboys. I really hope that Dak burns them or just doesn't sign. Zeke's whole... anyway, let's move on. 0 Super Bowl appearance, whatever. Game-winning drives. 33 game-winning drives by Matthew Stafford. That's 33 game-winning drives and 26 fourth-quarter comebacks for Matthew Stafford. That's quite a bit. Actually, it compares with guys like Breeze and Brady and all them. If you actually look at Matthew Stafford, he has 66 wins. 33 of those came via game-winning drives. So literally half this dude's wins are coming from game-winning drives. Very, very interesting. meaning he's very, very clutch, very, very good in closing situations. Here are his statistics. Numbers were down last year. His numbers were down last year if you don't watch the Lions football. He was playing with a couple fractures in his back. 3 of his receivers were hurt. He was working with practice squad receivers. They didn't have a tight end. They didn't have, the running game went down in week 8. Kerryon got shut down due to an MCL strain. It was just like this giant cacophony of reasons where Matthew Stafford, you know how rookies wear those black wristbands on their arm that kind of have simplified versions of all the plays? Matthew Stafford was wearing one of those because he was working with receivers from the practice squad that had never seen the offense before. So when you look at Stafford's numbers, yeah, they're low. But they're low for a reason. Like, he didn't have anyone to work with. Kenny Golladay was there, but he was being triple covered by the end of the year. So context matters when you look at numbers. Because his career statistics this year makes no sense to his entire career. He's missed 19 games in his career. All of those came at the first 2 seasons when he got hurt quite a bit. His impact and why I have him on this list. He has really revitalized the Lions entirely. 3 playoff appearances in this decade thanks to Matthew Stafford. And I mean, what had they done since Barry Sanders? Absolutely nothing. Culminating in them losing every single game since Barry. Like, that was the culmination of the post-Barry era. Losing every game. Now we have Stafford. 3 playoff appearances. Sure, we got cheated out of a win. We haven't won a playoff game. But we're better. We're in a better situation than when he got here. We're relevant. We can be talked about as potential people to be in the division race. There was a couple years there where we were actually considered maybe the favorites to win the division for a few weeks there. There's something brewing in Detroit, and Matthew Stafford's obviously the forefront of it. The guy's gone through 3 or 4 different coaches. He's gone through different offensive coordinators. I think he's gone through 3 different head coaches, 3 or 4 different 4 different offensive coordinators, and he still puts up good numbers year to year to year. He doesn't have the greatest offensive line ever. He's been sacked, what did he get sacked last year? 40 times. The league lead was 62. So Stafford was sacked quite a bit. That's actually down than his normal amount because he's been sacked 255 times already. It's just when it's just like Stafford's really good despite being on the Lions. Put like Matt Ryan, Andrew Luck, Ben Roethlisberger. Put any of these guys on the Lions. Do you see them doing as well with that offensive line, with the situation? Now go ahead and put Stafford on the Steelers. Put Stafford on the Falcons. Put Stafford on like any of these big teams that have all these great quarterbacks and all these great teams around them. You put Stafford on those situations and you go, yeah, he probably does way better. Look what he's done with the Lions. 38,000 yards with the Lions. 237 touchdowns with the Lions. Like, he's done his career is with the Lions, and people seem to forget that. They're like, well, yeah, his numbers are garbage. Yeah, look where he's playing. He's playing on literally like the 2nd or 3rd worst franchise ever behind the Arizona Cardinals. It's literally like, put this dude anywhere else. He's probably one of the best quarterbacks in the league without really talking about it. Sure, he throws a lot of interceptions. So did Peyton Manning. So did Brett Favre. Like, good. If you're forcing the ball and you're trying to make throws and you're trying to make plays, you're going to throw some interceptions. It's a part of football. Like Aaron Rodgers, the reason he doesn't throw picks is because he throws the ball away a lot. Brady, he throws picks too. Like, not a lot, but, you know, because Brady's actually... Brady doesn't count. We don't compare people to him. Basically, what this looks like, though, is Stafford might end up being the career leader in yards based on the rate of which he's going. He's probably going to wind up this generation's Dan Marino, which is quite a weird situation to be in. He's never really going to be much in the playoffs, but he's going to build and hopefully build the Lions into something great. All of it's there. We can see it potentially. He just hasn't done enough to be higher than number 7, in my opinion, because we still haven't won a playoff game. We had a bad year last year. Not really his fault, but that's why I have him at number 7. So, Stafford at 7, I think that's fair. You can disagree with me in the comments if you want. Number 6, I have Phillip Rivers. He's a lot lower or a lot higher on the list than you thought, and I'm actually going to be a little bit more negative about Mr. Rivers. 15 seasons, 16 heading into the NFL. He is 118-90 as a starter. Very bad record, 55% winning percentage. 6 playoff appearances. He's 5-6 in the playoffs, 4-5 record. 0 Super Bowl appearances, 0 wins. He has 30 game-winning drives and 26 comebacks. He went 12-4 last year, had a pretty good year. Well, great year, really. He started full-time in 2016. He has missed 0 games in his career. I don't think he's ever been hurt. So that's quite an interesting thing about Mr. Rivers. The reason I have him on the list is because clearly the dude, it's a weird situation of there were so many years where the Chargers around him were so bad, but he was still putting up decent numbers, putting the team in contention. I have to have him on the list. Tons of yards, tons of touchdowns. He always... It's odd with Phillip Rivers because I don't think he's better than Matthew Stafford, but he's had a much better career than Matthew Stafford, and I think that has to do with, like the team around him. But I also respect what Phillip Rivers has done because the Chargers for quite a while during his career were a bad football team. They didn't do anything around Rivers, and he was still good, still putting up decent numbers, still fucking out here balling. Obviously, he got up to 54,000. He's going to throw for 300 or 400 touchdowns by the end of his career. Like he has great all-time great numbers. The Chargers did very, very good last year off of his play. They have a great team around him. But that's also why I have him at number 6, and I actually almost put him at number 8, but I figured that was a little unfair. Because as good as the Chargers are right now, and have been in the past for him, because he's been on some very, very good Chargers teams in the past, and now he is again the leader of another very, very good Chargers team. They don't do anything. He just can't do anything in the playoffs, and that's why I have him at number 6. He should be higher on my list. He should be higher than the next 2 quarterbacks, in my opinion. Really, he should be. I find him to be a much better quarterback than the next 2. But we can't put him any higher because he's not doing anything when he gets into these playoffs. He's never won a Super Bowl. He can't beat Tom Brady. He can't beat Big Ben. He can't get past the playoffs. He's never even been to the Super Bowl, for God's sakes. And he's supposed to be this great quarterback with the most talented roster in the NFL. And if you have the most talented roster in the NFL, which the Chargers might actually have had last year, and you're not winning and going to the Super Bowl, you can start to kind of point your head at the quarterback and going, what are you not doing enough of to get your team over to that next hump? What have you not done enough of in the offseason, studying, looking at tape, something to get past this playoff demon that you're facing? We get it's Tom Brady, but you gotta get past it at some point. He should be higher than he is in terms of the all-time greats, because Phillip Rivers is a very phenomenal talent. But the lack of Super Bowls will forever kind of push him out of the top. I wouldn't even consider him a Dan Marino because, without a ring, Phillip Rivers is basically a glorified stat sheet stuffer that struggles in the playoffs. He's basically very good in the regular season, but in games of meaning and matter, there's nothing from him. He's just yeah, I can do it. It's that's his legacy is sort of becoming one of failure. We could put the most talent around the guy, but he still can't win. That's kind of what it seems like it's coming down to about Phillip Rivers, especially after last season. They should have won the AFC and won the Super Bowl, really. That team was so good. But you have, again, he's number 6. He's going to have a great year. The Chargers are going to be great. He's going to probably duplicate his 2018 season. If not, maybe a little bit better. Chargers are going to be good. Phillip Rivers is going to be good. But without these playoff things, he's always going to be number 6 to me. And he's never going to be able to get higher than a guy. Number 5, he should be higher than. 100% he should be higher. Matthew Stafford should be higher than Phillip Rivers and number 5. But these lack of big wins, lack of Super Bowls, for a lot of these guys back here were the reason. So we can do a quick recap. Stafford at 7, 8 we had Mayfield, 9 we had Watson, and 10 we had Wentz. All these guys, the older guys, the reason they're so low is lack of Super Bowls, just whatever. But they're still very, very good quarterbacks. I find them better than the rest of the guys in the NFL. Phillip Rivers is, the lowest of the best. You know what I mean? Now we go into the middle of the road of the best, in my opinion, to number 5. Dangerous Russell Wilson. We're not really bringing up the dual threat, but he is a dual threat quarterback. Very good runner, very good thrower, very, very good thrower, very underrated. The dude actually held up the Seahawks on a pretend date. He went, you have till April 15th to pay me. That's not a deadline for anything. It's just the date Russell made up. He's 75, 36, and 1 as a starter, 67% winning percentage. He has 6 playoff appearances. He went 8-5 in those games, got with a 61%. He has 2 Super Bowl appearances, 1 win. He's 1-1 for a 50% record. Radio gold. Game-winning drives and comebacks. He has 23 game-winning drives and 17 comebacks. Last year, he had 4 game-winning drives and 2 fourth-quarter comebacks. He threw for almost 3,500 yards, 35 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. That is fucking incredible from Russell Wilson. Just remember, he only has Doug Baldwin and Tyler Lockett to work with. If you can get these fucking numbers from Tyler Lockett and Doug Baldwin, you're in my top 10. You're number 5. No, it's going to be very difficult for teams to remove you if you're fucking making things like what the Seahawks had Russell Wilson throwing to last year get you 35-7. All right, that's incredible. So the reason I put him on here, he's the reason that we're seeing shorter, smaller stature guys get a shot in the NFL. He really is. That's his impact on the game. He debunked that football is a big man's game myth because he is 5'11", 215 pounds. And we're seeing guys like Kyler Murray, Baker, when he was coming in, they kind of mocked his height and everything. We're seeing short guys actually be given a shot. Guys who aren't the 6'5", 6'2", 6'3", typical juggernauts we see playing in the NFL get shots, get reasonable shots, not be laughed at hysterically. Really, because of the play of Russell Wilson, he has been their shepherd, their pioneer. He's done so much for guys of a smaller stature that want to play in the NFL, especially at the quarterback position. So, kudos to Russell Wilson for that accomplishment. That is one of his big impacts on the game. He is a brilliant leader. He has that team. When he is playing good, the team plays fucking extremely well around him. So that's one of my big things. One of my biggest things I look for at a quarterback is, does this quarterback elevate the play of those around him? Russell Wilson, 150% yes. Like last year, all of sports media, everybody who follows the Seahawks went, oh yeah, 2018 is going to be an entire rebuild year. We're going to be bad. We're probably not making the playoffs. Whatever. It's the Rams year anyway. But Russell Wilson actually took that team of misfits and banded together players with all the distractions of Earl Thomas, with the fact that they just had this like weird no running game really. Like they used like 16 guys to run the ball at one point. They had Tyler Lockett and Doug Baldwin as their only receivers. And Russell Wilson actually took that team and put them into the playoffs. That to me shows the ultimate sign of elevating the players around you, because Russell Wilson's obviously a good player, obviously a good quarterback. You can see that from his career statistics. Has a 100 passer rating, a 3.11 TD to interception ratio. That's very, very, very good. 25,000 yards already in his only 8 seasons. So I like all these things from Russell Wilson. And the fact he put his team in the playoffs last year kind of indicated he's grown. He's become the leader. He's elevating the play of the people around him. He's shaken off that Legion of Boom era. It is now the Russell Wilson era of the Seattle Seahawks. Last year was the proof of it. The highest paid player in the NFL. Of course, he's going to be on this list. I'm a big fan of Wilson. He's very mobile. Can extend plays. He's a complete package quarterback. All at 5'11". All giving all these new guys a shot in the league. Yeah, his impact is immeasurable, really. I also have a soft spot for Russell Wilson because he beat Peyton Manning in the Super Bowl. That's very big to me. Beating Peyton Manning is a very big thing you can do for me, and the fact that Peyton Manning is at 500 because of the efforts of Russell Wilson. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, Russell Wilson is the reason Peyton Manning is 500 in the Super Bowl, not 3-1. So that's quite good. I'm very happy with Russell Wilson for that. That's the main reason he's number 5. Because he beat Peyton Manning in a Super Bowl. I mean, the Legion of Boom kind of did that, but he's kind of changed that perception that, Russell Wilson's the leader now, winning with guys like Doug Baldwin and Tyler Lockett. Now he's just got Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. Very excited to see what the future brings for that team. Yeah, Wilson belongs at 5. There's not much negative you can say about the guy. Really, like what? He can't throw? Yes, he can. He threw to Lockett and Baldwin and fucking threw 35 touchdowns. And that is 65 completion percentage. probably be much higher if he didn't have fucking bumps to throw to. So, great quarterback. Let's move on to number 4. Who did I put at number 4? You guys haven't seen you know who yet. The guy I dislike the most in the NFL. Number 4, Aaron Leslie Rodgers. That is his middle name, by the way. You can look it up. You can do whatever you want, but we're out here trying to spread a new middle name. I know that's his real middle name. I've seen documents. I could show you the documents, but it would take me a couple months to find them. I'm not actually going to say much positive about Aaron Rodgers. I'm just going to make fun of him for a while, but I have him at number 4. This is about as respectful as I can be. He's played 14 seasons in the NFL, 14 seasons. How did I miswrite that? I wasn't very accurate with Aaron Rodgers, I noticed. I was very pissy when I was writing this. His numbers are pretty good. He's obviously got the best all-time touchdown to interception ratio at 4.22. That is quite incredible, though. A lot of his the lack of interceptions come at the price of throwing the ball away. 25-2. He also broke the NFL record for throwaways last year instead of taking shots that might have, maybe helped his team avoid a 6-9-1 record. Instead of maybe forcing a bad throw, maybe getting a touchdown or a first down, he would just throw it out of bounds. Like a 25-2 touchdown to interception ratio should not lead to a 6-9-1 record unless you're literally just throwing the ball away on any kind of pass that might result in anything. He had 3 game-winning drives and 3 fourth-quarter comebacks. Yada, yada, yada. Who cares? He has 20-14. Impact, not too much, really. But I put just to stabilize the NFC North for a couple of seasons, which is true. He fucked up the way that the Vikings, Packers, and Lions all ran their organizations. He got coaches fired in all 3 divisions. Quarterbacks lost their jobs. Players got cut. Complete thoughts of teams changed. Now the entire NFC North for about 2-3 seasons built teams to destroy the Green Bay Packers. So that is really Aaron Rodgers' impact. It takes a really, I hate saying this about Aaron Rodgers, but because it gives me the fucking heebie-jeebies, to destabilize a conference and make it shitty, to destabilize parts of the NFC and make them shitty and chase beating your stupid fucking team, because that's really what it was for about 3 years. Their teams were being built to beat the Green Bay Packers in the NFC, much like the Patriots. Teams are built in the AFC to beat the Patriots. For about 2 years there, teams were being built to beat the fucking Packers. And it's painful for me to say this, but that's his impact on the game. He destabilized the NFC for a little while, specifically the NFC North. His poll wasn't as great as Brady's. It wasn't his poll. It's not going to be as great as Mahomes at one point, who I think will destabilize the league. But, yeah, he really did that. So that's his impact. Now, it seems that has ended, because the last couple seasons, it seems like they figured out how to beat Aaron Rodgers. Teams in the NFC know what they have to do. Their teams to beat him are complete. But see, these teams that are built to beat the Packers were so fucking good they can beat the rest of the NFC. And that's kind of a byproduct or a blowback of that, building teams to beat a team like the Packers. You end up beating teams that can beat everybody. So, I don't know. Again, he was very good. He fucked up the Lions, Bears, and Vikings franchises for a couple years there. He messed with the NFC, kind of built teams to just specifically beat them. And you can't really not be a great quarterback when teams are building teams to beat you. So that's why I have him at number 4. I don't like him. I can't stand Leslie Rodgers. I don't like her. But can't disrespect him too hard, right? They haven't won a playoff game. They haven't won a Super Bowl since the team went from Aaron Rodgers, or went from it being obviously Brett Favre's team, Brett Favre's influence, to Aaron Rodgers. They're like 4-6 in the playoffs, and he's actually 9-7 in the playoffs. So he's a loser. Just letting you know, he chokes in the playoffs. So anyway, let's move on. Number 3, Patrick Mahomes. Everyone's going to freak the fuck out about this one. How dare you not have Mahomes at number 1? He's clearly the GOAT of the NFL. That's what you sound like to me when you tell me that Mahomes is better than Tom Brady or Drew Brees. What you mean he's not? He threw for 50 touchdowns. Yeah, I don't care. So? His team lost his team didn't play in the Super Bowl. I don't care. I don't care about that. I do think he's a great quarterback, though, and I do think he's better than a lot of fucking dudes in the NFL. But I have to remind you that Drew Brees and Tom Brady, two guys who are playing in the NFL today, they're still there, they're still kicking, they're still around. Drew Brees has a potential to take hold of like the touchdown record, like a whole bunch of NFL like all-time passing records. Drew Brees can take them this year, and Tom Brady can come right behind with touchdowns and a couple other records. So before we like say that Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL, can we please let like Brady and Mahomes, or Brees and Brady, kind of retire from the league first? Like, Brady's played in 9 Super Bowls in like 3 straight. Wait, hold on. Yeah, he's played in a few. You know what I mean? Like, can we slow down on the Patrick Mahomes shit? He's great. I think he's the best quarterback not named Brees or Brady, but he's not ahead of Drew Brees yet. He's done nothing to fucking prove that to me. He's done nothing to tell me he's better than Tom Brady. Not even close. He's done nothing to tell me he's really better than Aaron Rodgers. And I don't like Aaron Rodgers, and I like Patrick Mahomes. But he's done nothing in the league. He's won an MVP. Cool. He also had 3 All-Pros around him all season. Kareem Hunt would have been an All-Pro. Yeah. Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, and Kareem Hunt. Let's be honest, though. Great fucking season. Threw for 5,000 yards, 50 touchdowns. Won the MVP. Hey, man, I'm all for how great of a year you had. I hope you continue, and I hope you become an all-time great. Like I said, clearly this kid is full of talent. His breakout sophomore season has shown us this. Impact is yet to still be seen, but it's all there. Supreme arm talent. Questions to me arise: is he the product of a great offense or its catalyst? That is the biggest problem to me. Is he a byproduct? Is he a creation of this offense, or is he the catalyst to this offense? Like, is he the reason the offense is great, or is he great because he's in a great offense with a bunch of all-pros, great fucking blocking, Andy Reid at the helm of it? Is it a perfect storm and a perfect fucking thing, or is he the thing that came in and just started bombing it around, unleashed the talents of Kelce and Tyreek Hill and Kareem Hunt? Nobody knew these guys were good. Nobody knew Tyreek Hill was fast and Kareem Hunt was a fucking untackleable. Travis Kelce is a scuffed-ass Gronk. No, we all knew these things, and we knew what Mahomes could do, and we all kind of, football heads that knew that Mahomes was going to be a kind of a special talent. Just the whole thing makes sense, but we didn't expect 50 touchdowns, 5,000 yards. So, yes, I have him ahead of a lot of people, and he's done absolutely nothing really to be there. But the potential, everything we know, the eye test doesn't really fail. Common sense doesn't really fail. But I'm not putting him ahead of Brees and Brady simply because Brady doesn't deserve that kind of disrespect. The dude's played in 9 Super Bowls, won 6 of them. And Brees is about to be the all-time touchdown leader, the all-time yards leader, the all-time this, the all-time that. Put some respect on these guys' name when you make your top quarterbacks in the league list. Like, what if Mahomes throws for 30 touchdowns? Like, and Rivers throws 35, then, like, it's weird. I don't know. I just, until we see Mahomes actually do something other than, throw for a lot of yards and a lot of touchdowns, let's pause on putting him ahead of 2 of the literal all-time greats of the game. Literally 2 guys who are probably inside most people's top 10 or top 5 of all time, not just this season. Brady, Brees. Let's not put Mahomes ahead of them. Just because they're old doesn't mean they're not great still. Doesn't mean they're still not top quarterbacks. Now, speaking of, let's get down to the nitty-gritty, the brass tacks, the final 2 guys. I don't think it's really any surprise who I have at number 1, but number 2 is Drew Brees. Brees has played in 18 NFL seasons, heading into his 19th this year. He is 155 and 108 with a just under 60% winning percentage. He's only been to the playoffs 8 times for an 8-7 record, meaning he has 1 Super Bowl win. Excuse me. And he is, 1-0 in the Super Bowl. He beat Peyton Manning. Another reason why he's so high up on the list ahead of Patrick Mahomes. He beat Peyton Manning in the Super Bowl and is one of the reasons Peyton Manning isn't 3-1 or 4-0 in the Super Bowl. Thank you, Drew Brees, and again, thank you, Russell Wilson. Drew Brees has 48 game-winning drives and 34 comebacks, showing us how clutch he is. That's never really been up for debate. How good, how clutch, how big game moment Drew Brees really is. We know that. We know what he is. It's fucking Drew Brees. Last year, great year, 3,900 yards, 32 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Though after the Dallas game, he kind of slowed down from the start and hit a brick wall, kind of fell off a cliff. A little bit of worries about that heading into next season, but that doesn't really disqualify you from my list. Career stats, he's obviously the all-time yards leader. He's very close. He's 18 away from passing Peyton Manning, or 19. Just great numbers for his entire career. He's only missed 9 games in the career. So there's a lot to say here. I'm probably going to miss most of it. But we just gave why I put him on the list, all the statistics, the career accolades, Super Bowl winner, beat Peyton Manning in a Super Bowl, so that actually means something. Manning's one of the all-time greats. He gave the team their first Super Bowl in franchise history, changed the culture of the Saints to a winning culture that works hard, plays hard, aggressive. That's all what Drew Brees brought into this team. He's the clear front leader of that team. He's going to be the all-time leader in most passing category when he decides to finally call it quits. Makes his team better just by being its leader. Hall of Famer, true winner competitor, and though he is not on your team, he's your favorite quarterback. He's your favorite quarterback to hate, and he's your favorite quarterback that's not on your team. Most people love Drew Brees. I don't know too many people outside of like Tampa Bay and Carolina who really go, fuck Drew Brees. Like, there's never any seriousness to it. I don't know anyone who really hates Drew Brees. He's very beloved by the entire football community, it seems like. Did it with a team that nobody really ever gives any hope to, a small market team. Took him after he won the after Hurricane Katrina won that 2006 season, pretty magical, won that Super Bowl. Or whatever year it was, I forget. Doesn't really matter though. He won a Super Bowl. I believe it was 2009, and I'm remembering the actual year Katrina happened, but the idea is still there, right? The fact that he beat Drew Brees, that's the more important part. But I can't believe I just blanked on what year he won the Super Bowl, and that's kind of embarrassing. He still got it. He's going to be one of the all-time leaders in passing. He probably would have went to a couple. He got kind of fucked over by his defense not knowing how to tackle against the Vikings. And then last year he got screwed out of a trip to a possible second Super Bowl by a very, very bad call. So he might have had 2 Super Bowl appearances and 2 rings, depending on how they would have played the Patriots had they not been screwed. So I don't know. It's really hard to put an all-time great lower than people when he's still actively playing. So that's why I have Drew Brees at number 2. This is probably going to piss people off that he was number 2 and not number whatever. But again, I'm not basing what I think they're going to do next season on this list. So like, this list isn't predicated on the fact that this is what I think they're going to be heading into next season. No, this is just what they are right now to me. This is what the top 10 in the NFL looks like right now to me. Prior to any games being played, prior to any of that, because at the end of the season I could redo this list and it'll look entirely different to who I think the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL are. This is heading into the season, not what I think they're going to do, and I'm not ranking it on that. That's too much. But that's why Brees is number 2. Number 1, of course, is Tom Brady, New England Patriots, 19th season. He is heading into his 20th season. He is 207-60, clearly the most winning quarterback of all time, and it's really not that close. 77 winning percentage. He has 16 playoff appearances, 30-10, 75% winning percentage. He has 9 Super Bowl appearances with 6 wins. He is 6-3 with a 66.6 winning percentage in the big game. He has 44 game-winning drives and 35 comebacks. Last year, he only had 2 game-winning drives and 1 fourth-quarter comeback. He's missed 19 games in his career, most of them coming in that 2008 season when he got hit by Marcus Pollard and tore his ACL. And clearly he's on this list as number 1, the most winning quarterback in the Super Bowl, one of the most winning quarterbacks of all time. If Drew Brees, something happens to Drew Brees, he could have the most touchdowns of all time. He's right there. He has 517 of them. What really, we can talk about why he's on this list because it's Tom Brady. He is clearly 9 Super Bowl appearances, 6 wins. That puts him on the list at number 1. He's not the best quarterback in the league until he retires, in my opinion. He has destabilized the AFC East. Look at the Bills. Look at the state of the Bills, Dolphins, and Jets. They aren't historically horrible franchises. If you go look at them historically, they're not that bad of teams. But as soon as you put Tom Brady into the presence in the mix, Those franchises have been terrible for 20 years. The most of the AFC has been terrible for 20 years, all because of Tom Brady. They constantly fire coaches, fire GMs, cut players, change teams, hire new coordinators. Every like 3 or 4 years, there's massive changeover in the entire AFC simply to try to keep pace with the New England Patriots. I don't know. That's pretty big impact. Also, he completely changed the face of the NFL. The most winning franchises in Super Bowl histories were like the Cowboys. And number 1 was the Steelers. Now it's the Patriots, tied with the Steelers at number 1 apiece with 6 each. And that's all because of Tom Brady. Every year it seems like the teams are playing keeping up with the Patriots. How can we construct a team to beat the New England Patriots? That's both the AFC and the NFC. And that basically comes from the fact that Brady exists. Brady's sitting there playing. I don't know. It's really hard to argue as Brady isn't the best quarterback in the league. But then who is? Because he's 42, he isn't the best? That's not how that works. I would say Brady's still the best until somebody stops him from being the best, until he retires, until he's no longer in the league. Just a plethora of things that kind of make it very difficult for me to say that Brady isn't number 1. So we'll do a quick recap here. These guys did not make the list. Luck, Ryan, Roethlisberger, Cousins, Trubisky, Prescott, Foles, and Goff. There was the criteria. Number 10, we had Carson Wentz. Number 9, Deshaun Watson. Number 8, Baker Mayfield. Number 7, Matthew Stafford. Number 6, Phillip Rivers. Number 5, Russell Wilson. Number 4, Aaron Leslie Rodgers. Number 3, Patrick Mahomes. Number 2, Drew Brees. Number 1, Tom Brady. So those are my top 10 quarterbacks going into 2019. Has nothing to do with how I think they'll play in 2019, the performance or any of that. It's just what I think going into the season. Yeah, very long video, so hope you watch all of it. Hope you enjoy it. Hope you enjoyed my breakdown. Yeah, so that's pretty good. Yeah, that's a good video. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new here. I don't know. I think I gave a pretty thorough talk about each of why I think this. So this isn't a typical top 10 list. It's a very long, thought out list. So leave a comment down below. I'll be sure to get back to you. Yeah, I don't know. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope people actually watch this. I kind of doubt it due to its length, but you know, I hope. We'll see. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Have a good one. I'll see you next time on the next video. Peace.